Hello everyone and welcome to the Coach Approach. If you're new, I'm Coach Blaker, been coaching for going on 8 years. This is going to be my beginner series, the third video of the beginner series, and I'm going to do my best to keep this going. If you guys would like to be along for the ride, make sure you subscribe, and if this video helps you out, make sure you like. Now, before we hop into it, what we're going to be going over today with wards are going to be common ward spots, some fun facts about wards you didn't even know that could definitely change the way that you play the game, and then also just kind of what they are. What are wards? What are control wards? What are trinkets? Like, why do I need to know this stuff? So we're going to be touching all those subjects. I'll have timestamps in the description below, so if you guys just want to look at the ward spots, go ahead and jump to that. If you guys want to look at just kind of like some fun facts, go ahead and jump to that. If you guys want to watch the whole thing, by all means. As I said, if you are not new and you are a vet to League of Legends, that does not mean you cannot learn anything from these videos. So just chill out, relax, grab some popcorn, some snacks. Make sure you give me some because I'm kind of hungry. And without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so what are wards? Wards are something used to give you vision in the fog of war. If we walk, as you see, it gets darker and darker the more we leave. When we walk back, it gets brighter and brighter. Champions truly are walking wards. So as you see, the crab goes into the bush and we can't see it. If we place a ward, now we can. So it brightens up anything. It doesn't have to be in a bush. You can still have the same thing be not in a bush. So if we, boop, now we can see. So it doesn't matter where you place the ward, it will still show vision no matter where, if it's in a bush or not. One thing that will happen though, if you do place a ward outside of a bush, like that, you don't actually get the vision in the bush, and this whole thing is blocked out. So essentially, you're missing half of your ward because it can't see the inside of that bush. So if you are going to ward, make sure you do ward in the bush if you're next to one, so that you can see to the other side. You ward around the bush, you are not going to be able to see in the bush. The only way you are able to see in the bush is if you ward in the bush. So what type of wards are there? There are trinket wards, control wards, farsight wards, and some champions actually give vision with their abilities. And they can use that as wards as well. For example, Shaco boxes give vision. It's not as much of a vision range as an actual ward, but it still gives them vision. Oriana, her ball gives her vision. Maokai, his saplings give vision. Fiddlesticks doesn't really have something that can pop into a bush and just sits there. It's actually considered his ward. So if you ever go against a Fiddlesticks, he can't actually carry trinket wards. He can't carry anything. Only thing he carries are those effigies. He puts them down, and when you walk by, it does a random action. So that is the only champion in the game that has their wards substituted to be something else. Because I think that's the only champion in the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is the only champion in the game that has that. So there are champions that have abilities that show, whether it be Vigar, when he uses an ability, sometimes he can just drop the ability and you'll see the person in the bush. So sometimes vision's a really, really fickle thing, but the main things you really have to worry about are the trinket wards, control wards, farsight wards, and then of course Fiddlesticks effigies, which are still wards. So which wards do I use? Do I use the trinket wards or do I use the farsight wards? Well, trinket wards are the best all-around use. Like the green ones, they're the best. The best of the best. They're used for everything. It's really, really good. The green ones go invisible, whereas the farsight, the blue ones, do not go invisible. The ones that go invisible have a timer. The ones that don't go invisible can last forever as long as they don't get hit. So I'll show you an example. As you see, we put this down and it's solid. That means both teams can see it. But then it goes a little faint color, like it just kind of blends in. At this point, it's invisible to the enemy team, right? So unless they have a scanner, which we will talk about in a minute, they can't see this ward. So it is invisible to them. Now, when you place a ward down and it's solid, the enemy team has a chance to destroy the ward before it goes invisible. So always remember that. You do not want to place a ward on top of another enemy champion because they can try to break it and kill it. Alright, as we see, we have the farsight ward. So what's the difference between a farsight ward and a green ward aside from the fact that those have the timer and it doesn't? Well, as you see, when you place the far sight ward, it actually reveals everybody in that location. Even if they do destroy the wards, you can still see them. So, as an example, what we can do is we can put a little bot over here in the bush, right? We can't see it. And if we were to place a green ward, as I said, you see we can't see him. Even though we can see the area, we can't see in bushes. But you place this next to the bush, we can see them because of that location thing. So the blue ones are very, very important to use if you feel like, well, if I walk up, I'm probably gonna die, which is why ADCs and mid laners usually use them the most, rather than the jungler getting Sienners, the support getting Sienner, and the top laner can pretty much get whatever they want in terms of how they're playing the lane and how they're going to be playing the rest of the game. And that's a whole nother video entirely. One more note is that if you can manage to put these in places where nobody can see them, you can actually have unlimited. You're stuck with 3 green ones. So if you have a sight stone, you're stuck with three green ones, and then they will go away when you put the 4th one down. A sight stone is a support item that transforms into a sight stone, okay? So as you see, you can put down as much as we want, and it doesn't really go away. I've seen as much as 4 stacked on the field by 1 person. It's very crazy if you can manage to find those spots where it's like, you can't see it, huh? And you can put as many down as you want. They do not go away. They are unlimited. So, you know, although you see that the timer is 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes per ward, every 3 minutes, though, if you can manage to do this, and it's like a 30-minute game, you have some wards. One key note, though, is that you have to be level 9 or higher to get the far sight ward, okay? So don't try to get the ward unless you're level 9 or higher. That's the only stipulation with those wards. So what are control wards? Well, control wards are used to not only reveal wards, but it also blocks the enemy's vision. They do not block out the enemy's control wards though. So if I put down a control ward and someone on the other team puts down a control ward, well, we're just seeing 2 control wards. They don't block each other out. But a control ward, that's a lot, holy. But the control ward will block out all those, right? So I put a control ward down there right now and I'm on the enemy team, it will block all of them. All of them. Same thing for the green wards. If there's green wards around, you will put a control ward down and you will not see them. Which is really why players tend to put the control ward, let me go buy one real quick. Players tend to put the control ward in the pits, the Baron pit and the Dragon pit. Baron pit is up here, Dragon pit is down there. Before 20 minutes, it's called the Rift Herald, okay? So we will go back over there, and as you see, we will put our pink ward down. And sometimes there will be wards around, and it'll be blocked. So you'll see the little vision, like an eyeball with it crossed out saying that, okay, they don't see anything. And people will do exactly what I'm about to do, is they'll just try to take it without the person actually coming over. So they'll do their best to try to take it without hitting the wards. Okay, well then what's the scanner do? Oracle scanners show wards as well as remove vision. What you will usually hear people call it is just a scanner, but it's actually called Oracle Lens. It allows you to see trinket wards, also known as the green wards, to be able to destroy them. Scanners do not block control wards. So if there is a control ward and you happen to use your scanner, that does not mean you will block out the control ward. You will still be spotted. But if you are walking into a bush, and let's say there is a ward here, it will be blocked. Even if it's the blue one or the green one, it doesn't matter. It will be blocked. So it will not see anything, okay? The only wards that it does not disable are going to be the control wards. Also, it reveals and disables traps. So things like Shaco boxes, Nidalee traps, Caitlyn traps, it shows it, but I mean, you can't destroy it. Teemo shrooms, I'm drawing a blank on the other traps. Jin traps, like all those traps or invisible things that if you walk on them, something happens, the scanner will show them and it allows you to hit them and destroy them so you're not forced to walk on them and blow up or whatever the actual trap does. All right, I actually forgot to mention this, but as a side note, when you use the scanner, we'll put a little bot here, you can actually see people in the bush, as you see, but the same thing could be said if the person is invisible. So as you see, you can see what's in there. So let's say if we were scanning and we just were like walking and they don't know because they can't see us, but we can see them because we're running the scanner. We know, okay, there's somebody in there. Same thing for the control ward. It will just show a control ward. As I said, it won't block it out, but you will see the indication of a control ward. Now, when it comes to invisible targets, the same thing will be seen. You will see that, but it will be invisible and it will be walking around and it will be flashing around and you'll be able to see it. So it's very good for things like a collie. You can't hit a collie. You can't really hit anybody that's invisible when you see them with the scanner, but it's just good to track where they're going. So a collie, Shaco, Wukong, Twitch, anything that can go invisible, stealth or whatever, you can use the scanner and just follow them. And you'll see them and you keep following them, you keep following them. As I said, they'll blip red like that. They'll show just like that and you keep following them. And then when they're done, you can see them and you can get them. So it's very important to use a scanner when dealing with invisible things that just might be very, very hard for you guys to be able to fight. Like I said, a collie is definitely a huge one. When people can't see her, she just gets away for free. So just having the scanner and just watching where she goes, Shaco's the same way. It helps a ton. Anyway, this is Future Blaker. Going to go back to past Blaker. Thank you guys for watching. All right, congrats on making it to this part of the video. Next, we're going to go over the Did You Know? And then after that, we're going to go over common ward spots and some really good ward spots that I think you guys should be placing because it is very helpful. As I said before, if you guys would just rather skip to that, feel free to do so. Timestamps below, or you can just put your mouse over the screen and it will show you the timestamp, okay? Thank you guys for watching this far, but let's get on into it. So, I have 3 Did You Know fun facts. Here we go. Did you know upon a ward being destroyed, it actually leaves debris? The lighter it is, means the sooner it died. So, as an example, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a green ward. Boom, bam. Now, look at this. So as you see, there's no debris. There's nothing there. It's just green grass. But what happens if I place them there? I'm going to keep putting wards so I can just kind of destroy it. Look it, you see? There's debris, and it's super bright. But the longer it goes, I will fast forward here. The longer it goes in the game, the darker it gets. So we'll just fast forward 30 seconds. You see? Now it's more faint, right? And so you can use that not only to tell, okay, they keep warding in the same spots. That's their common ward spot. I can scan that every single time and there should be a ward there because they usually ward there. Or B, okay, well it's dim. So that means that that means that they're probably not going to be around for that, you know. Okay, it's dim. That means it can probably be on their way to replace that ward. So you want to be a little bit careful about it. It doesn't happen all the times, but usually it does. When it starts to get faint like that, they will come and replace that ward. So A, it shows you where they usually place their wards and how they placed it. B, it can also indicate how soon are they going to come replace it. All right, fun fact number 2. Did you know that if you attack a green ward, you show to the enemy team? That's why when control wards are placed during Dragon or Baron, most players choose not to take them out. So as an example, once again, if I have a control ward, let me go get one. I just don't know why I don't buy 2. If I have a control ward and I place one here, and then all of a sudden you see like a ward there and maybe another one. Usually it's 1, but sometimes 2, sometimes teammates put double. And it's like, okay, those are blocked out, right? They're blocked out. So if they are blocked out, that means we can take it and they can't see. Some players, which you don't want to do this unless you know they're probably going to teleport or you plan to have a team fight, you don't want to take out the wards. If you're trying to sneak it, there's no reason to hit it because they don't know you're there anyway. So then if you do hit it, I can't hit my own ward, but if you do hit it, you will actually show up as a blip. So it'll be dark and then you'll show up. So as an example, this is kind of what it looks like. So say he hits it, right? What it's going to look like after he hits that ward is going to look like this. That's what it's going to look like when you hit a ward. And that's why you don't do that. And it doesn't just reveal the champion, it reveals the entire area. So you do not want to hit a ward if you're trying to sneak something if you have a pink ward. Now, if you're using a scanner, the only thing that you will spot, or the only thing that will be spotted is you. It's not going to show anything else. So if you do happen to scan a bush and there's a ward there and you hit it, it's going to spot you, but it's not going to spot the entire area. So just remember that as well. So control wards, when you hit a green ward, when a control ward is active, it will show the whole area. When you are scanning and you hit a ward, it does not show the whole area, it just shows the person hitting it. And the final, but awesome note, that did you know when you clear a green ward, you actually show the enemy for a brief second. So what I mean by that is after you're done clearing it, only with a scanner, I believe, with a pink ward, it just goes away. But with the scanner, if you destroy it and you like walk away, they can still see you. So a good thing to do when you are clearing wards is to fake it. So let's say I want to go this way, right? And there's a ward here. Well, I'm going to hit it, walk this way for a brief second, and then just turn back around so that they don't see me. Because you are shown for a brief second after you destroy a green ward. A pink ward, it doesn't matter, but a green ward, you will show for a quick second. If you want to test that out, go into a spectate one of your games that you already played and just look at you destroy a green ward. You will show for a brief second before it goes away. Remember that, okay? A really cool kind of tip you can use to decide like when you can go is you'll see it die, right? So when it dies, that yellow thing is going to drop. When it drops and it sets, that's how you know you're able to go again. So as you see, it drops, still sees you, and then it's set. I can go now. So that's just kind of a way you can do it as well if you need to. All right, the moment you guys all been waiting for, common ward spots and really good ward spots for different champions. Now, I do have a specific video on specific champions to ward for. I'm going to see if I can just take that video and re-upload it to this channel. But if I can't, I can for sure just make another copy of it. I just don't want this video to be too long because I know we had a lot of videos within the past couple of days that are just really, really long. So I want to try to value your time. All right, so we're going to start with the wards that we use to protect our jungle and protect us versus the neutral wards, meaning they're in the river or somewhere around there. And then we'll talk about the wards we put in the enemy jungle. So like the invasion wards. As I said, they are the same thing. If we do it on this side, it's flipped when you're on red side. That means you would do it over here. So it's the same thing in the same spot. I'm not going to go over all the spots twice. Just know that when it is flipped, it's the same, okay? So to protect ourselves, well, putting a ward here, I don't know why I just don't use the button. Putting a ward there is good for us. Why? Because it does protect us, right? This is a ward that unless we are just heavily under our tower, we can defend. And you don't really want to place wards down that you can't defend. So if let's say we're pushed back and we have a ward right here, if we have a pink ward right here, or a green one, doesn't really matter. Now we can't defend that. So if the support or the jungler comes around, we can't really do anything about it because we're pushed way back here. So the word of advice when putting down wards to protect yourself, you know, on our side, is to basically just kind of ward where the lane is. If you ward where the lane is, you're in a good spot. So if we're pushed out, we ward here. If we're pushing even further, of course, we ward in their jungle. And we will talk about those in a second. But you always want to do your best to kind of ward where you are in the lane. As far as mid lane goes, a very common ward that I see are the wards here. The wards here are not really useful unless you are warding to check if they are there. So for an example, if I ward to check here, okay, he's not there. Like if you're doing that to check, it's fine. But the problem is that the player can actually walk behind you. So if we put a minion here, let's just walk back a little bit, and then we'll put a minion here. You don't see that, do you? But it's there. And so when you put a ward there, junglers can just go behind you and then kill you. And you're wondering, like, how did they get past me? Well, that's how. What you want to do is this is very, I don't do this, but you can put it right at the edge and pray you see it. As you see, it doesn't, so that's why I don't do it. But sometimes they will kind of take the hefty route and they will be spotted, but I don't like doing that. What you could do is you can just put it right there. Why? That way you see everything here, right? Another cool spot you can do is you can put it right there. because in that way it'll see up here, it'll see over here, it'll see over here, and it'll see everything. Now it's going to be up to you to be able to spot it before it gets into the bush, but at least this ward is way more useful. Remember, wards are not there to save you. Wards are there to give you information. What information can you realistically get from this ward, right? But if he decides to walk this way into the jungle, you know, okay, he's going back to his jungle. If he walks down, okay, he's probably going to go gank bot, or maybe going to a jungle bot or something like that. If he goes this way, well, that means he's going to either gank you or invade. A lot more information is given with these wards than it is with this one, okay? Same thing for this side. It's just flipped. No reason to ward there unless you are checking. Otherwise, you put a ward there. Now, a really good defensive ward you can place is right here. So what I do typically is I'll click it so that I can see the most out of it. If it's green, it means it's in the bush. If it's not, it means it's out the bush. So if I place it right here, it's not in the bush. It has to be green. And so when it is green, that means you can place it. And doing it on this side is a little bit of a pain because it's so different than the other side. But as soon as it goes green, boom, I'll place it right there on the edge. Why? Because we get vision of all of this. But what you will see sometimes is, I'm gonna go back and get another pink ward. I don't know why I can't just have a whole bunch of pink wards. What you see when the players are lazy, I care about my vision. I'm a vision nut. I love vision. So when I place my wards, I get the most out of them. But what you'll see is someone just being lazy. What they'll do is this. So you see what we can see there, right? This is what we see. We place this down. Oh, wrong button. We place this down. Look how much vision just goes away. And then once again, we're in the same scenario of what if a juggler just decides to go right there? You can't see them. But if we put that ward right back to where it was, let's see if I can get it right. Like I said, this one's kind of hard. And so when you're in a rush, honestly, you don't really have to change your camera so much, but it is kind of difficult to do. But once we put that down and we go, right? If this guy decides to walk over here, we see him. We see him pass. So even if he decides to just be sneaky and go this way, we see him pass. Versus you just don't see anything there in the first place, okay? So get the most out of your wards, try to put them on the side. Another nice ward spot, if you know that you're going to be invaded a lot or your jungler doesn't need you, put a pink ward right there. Right at the edge. Remember, if it's green, you put it down. If it's not, it's going to be out of the bush. Another good one is putting a green ward here. But you can also, if you notice the buff is gone, you could put a pink ward right there at the edge. Once again, make sure it's green. Like that. Because they're not going to check this because their buff isn't up. The game's not even programmed to have you like walk into the bush anyway. Like you see, I'm not walking in the bush. So there's no way that they'll see that unless they do this. And if they do this, well then, I don't know what they're thinking. That's weird. So yeah, you get to see this. And look, when I walk away, look how much you see. You see everything from here to here to here to here to here. But what happens if I just place a ward like that? Look what we don't see. We don't see this. We can see this, we can see this, but this is the important part, right? Because we want to know where they're going. If we put an enemy here, we can't see that. But if we put it closer, we can. And then we can see, okay, well, this guy's going this way, meaning that he's probably going to gank my mid laner. Or this guy's going this way, okay, he's probably just going to farm. So that's why it's important to get the most out of your wards. Really put them on the edge. Another one you can put, of course, a pink ward. You can just put it right here. But once again, make sure it's at the edge. Get the most out of your wards. You see this ring? This faint little ring. This shows how much vision you actually have. So we put it right at the edge. And then boom. Right? Way, way better. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the neutrals. Of course, you want to put a pink ward there if you can. Another good ward that you could put is right here. Or maybe a little bit further if you can. But this not only allows you to see what's in there, but it also allows you to get the whole river. If you place a ward right here in the pit, you don't get to see this. So what if someone's walking through mid and trying to gank your mid laner? And because that ward, you don't get to see where they're coming from because it's dark. Get the most out of your wards. I can't emphasize that enough. If you really want to become a good player, you really want to become that top-notch good player, get your wards down pat, because that allows you to, that tells you what the person's going to do next. Oh, he's going that way. Oh, he's probably going to do this. Oh, he's walking this way. He's probably going to do that. Oh, he's going that way. Okay, well, I know that he's going to do this. I'm safe. Like that type of stuff right there allows you the information you need to tell you how you can play. Can I play aggressive? Do I have to play bad? Do I need to go help anything? Like, is this gonna happen? Like, what do I need to do? It tells you just with wards. Now, this one's a little different. So there's like a little edge here that I like to put the ward. As you see, it's kind of flat, and then it pokes out a little bit. So you want to go right in the middle and put a ward right there. Because with that in mind, you can see this, you can see this, you can see of course there, and you can see if he's going up here. But if we just do the kind of the lazy one where we like put it right there, once again, you don't see anything there. So if the jungler clears and goes up top, it could have been avoided if you just would have put a ward right there, right? So very, very important. Let's go a little bit deeper, and then we will conclude here. As I said, I want to value your time. Like I said, if I can't get that video for warding against specific junglers, I'll just remake another one. Another good one is putting a ward here, and if you can manage to put a pink ward over here, like way, once again, at that part sticking out. So you gotta get really good, you know, put that. Once you get used to the fact that it's green, you'll be able to kind of just know the spot. As I said, I usually do that in my games, and it doesn't take too long at all because I already know how to do it. But as we see, let's just teleport. I don't know why I'm walking. As you see, this is what we see, right? So if he goes this way, we know that he's going bot. If he goes this way, you know that he's probably gonna gank your mid. If he goes up here, he's probably gonna go to his red buff, and then of course after he's done with his red buff, you will see him. And then of course if he goes this way, you're gonna see him go to his Krugs, right? And if he goes to the left, he's probably ganking your top laner. He goes up to the left, he's probably do Krugs into ganking your top laner. If he goes back this way for some reason, well then, you know, he's probably scared of your jungler most likely. If he goes back this way, well, he's trolling. He shouldn't be going that way anyway. And it's a little stuff like that. And it's really good against champs like Nocturne or things that can get to you from far away because you can spot them. So once again, very important for you to know these little spots here. Now there are a lot more spots that you can kind of put down, and the thing about wards is you can get really creative. As long as you spot the most, as long as you can get the most out of your ward, is pretty much the theme here. So you can put a ward right there, and that kind of does the same justice. Not too much, but you can see pretty much here, there, without actually having to put a ward right here in the center. Another one people put here is like that. As I said, I like to put this ward down here so that I can see the pit too, rather than just I'm seeing vision for me. If you can get the most, if you can get like vision to help not just you but your team as well, you're in a really, really good spot. So those are pretty much just the common ward spots that people will use. Some of those are more advanced spots that I personally like to use, as I said, going around and just showing you the different vision you can get by just having it scooch a little bit to the edge. That's just me. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. I know this is pretty long-winded, but I hope it helped you. If it is helping you guys and you guys do want to stay along for the ride, as I said, make sure you just subscribe. I don't want you subscribing if you're not going to enjoy the content. It just doesn't make sense. So if you do like these videos and you do want to see more of these videos and more guides and things like that, please feel free to subscribe. I do have a Patreon, as I said before. That's going to have my gameplays, my gameplay commentaries. It's going to have me go over pro games and just kind of dissecting it and giving you the information on what you can take from that pro game and put it into your solo queue play. I also do tier list over there, my own personal one, not based off of, you know, what is strong right now, but based off what I think is just really good to climb with right now in terms of faster, normal, and then slowest. And then also the last thing that I do plan on uploading on that page are just going to be some really just in-depth guides about things, and also champion guides as well. So if that interests you, go ahead and check out my Patreon, link in the description below. And if you guys would like free coaching, as I said, 200 subscribers, and if you guys like free VODs, as I said, join my Discord. I know that was long-winded, but I'm gonna give y'all enough information. So subscribe if you want to enjoy the ride. Like if you got something out of this video. Even if you don't subscribe, it's all right. Anything helps. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. And as I always say, thank you for approaching this like a coach.